dumb. Like I had a guy where I don't know if it was an accident or not, but instead of selecting the ferry for Fire Island, the like terminal for the ferry, he
Yeah.
put me next to the terminal, but across the water. Right? So
Damn.
I'm going to him, right? And then he goes, "Oh, now this is when I thought some bullshit was about to happen, but I couldn't be sure." He texts me. Now, mind you, I'm not even there yet. I'm not even close to there yet. He's like, "Oh, the ferry got delayed docking, um, but we're on our way. You know, we'll be there." I'm like, weird, because I'm not going to the ferry. So I try to call him, nothing. Then he goes, "Oh, sorry for any inconvenience, blah, blah, blah," right? So I go, and when I get close, I try to call him again, because I didn't even realize that I wasn't going to the ferry. But then I'm like, okay, let me try to call him
Nice
again.
mad dudes coming over here, bro.
Alright, we can go somewhere else. Wherever you want.
Shit, ain't even nothing over there.
Correct.
Unless you just want to do that.
I need a most wanted contract.
Nah. I think I'm gonna just land here. Here, really.
Copy.
Targets
Yeah,
are up.
nah, you
Take 'em
brave,
out.
bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I call somebody phone, they don't fucking answer. I cancel that shit.
I mean, well, no, it was like, like I hadn't waited at that time, and like people have all different kind of like little quirks. But like, I really do try not to cancel on people unless it just cannot be helped.
Yeah, nah, like, I be like, once motherfuckers start moving funny, or I be feeling in my gut, and be like, nope,
Gas is moving.
See,
I'm out.
like if I would have felt like any kind of like danger or whatever, then sure, I would have been like, fuck it. But I tried to call a motherfucker, ended up trying to call him like 4 times, and I'm waiting because I'm hoping, right? Because it ain't like it was weird. Like it wasn't one of those things where like it gave me an approximate location. Like it gave me a real like street address. So I'm like, maybe I'm just bugging, and there's a way to get across this water. And he
Yeah,
just did.
yeah.
He just didn't want to deal with the fucking traffic because he's like, yeah, no, like I'm not gonna pay $10 extra for my driver to spend 20 extra minutes going and coming, like for nothing.
Yeah.
So this
I'm in
dude,
the bunker, just so you know.
copy.
Bounty target is up.
Wow,
Take 'em
these dudes
down.
are right where we just came from. So this dude goes, oh, we're walking to you, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I might be dead. I am dead. I lagged in the middle of a gunfight. I love that.
Welcome to the gulag. If you survive, you earn your freedom.
So he's like, oh, we're walking to you. So I try to call him again. Nothing.
Time to fight.
So I try to call him again. Then
Talk
he
to the
picked
enemy
up.
while you wait.
And he's like, oh, where are you? And I'm like, bro, I'm not at the terminal. Right?
Hmm.
And so he goes, oh, he didn't realize he was basically on the. He said basically he was on the boat with bad
Let the
service,
mayhem begin.
and he didn't pick his pickup. He just
Your own
thought it would be
next.
smart
Ready
enough
up.
to do it, and it was close enough. Well, it looked like it was close enough on the map, which they are
Hmm.
very close. So I'm like, oh. Then he goes, oh, I have some cash as a tip if you come pick us up. And I'm like, listen, bro, like,
Fight your way out.
don't get me
Return to
wrong.
the front
Generally, I
line.
would do that, but
Lose, and you're finished.
with the way
Give
that
us
the shit
time, soldier.
is,
Break 'em.
like, I can't go over there.
You're done.
I'm dead.
We're sending you back to base.
I
Try to
can't
get
Team
over.
go
can pay for your
over
release if
there
they can afford it.
where we came from, the big house. It's the only buy in the area.
So where's the bar?
Orange. So I was telling him, I'm like, I can't go over there to pick you up when that's not what the app says, because then if we have a problem, right, then it looks like they just pulled back from over there. He drove away. He's in the SUV. He drove in that direction. Right, so I'm like, okay, like it'll be weird. Like they'll think that, you know, I'm trying to scam you, you're trying to scam me. And he's like, fuck, and then he's like, all right, so what do we do? And I'm like, well, we can cancel at this point either way. Like, it's not gonna make a difference because I've waited this time. Now, mind you, for the counter, it's been like 10 fucking minutes, bro.
Hunt them down.
And a part of why I waited is because typically with people in that area and with those customers,
To redact the XM4.
copy.
Contract time expired. The target's been lost.
With those people and with those customers, right? Like they can live anywhere.
Moving.
So it could have easily been like a crazy ride. Like for example, from where I live, right? We've traveled out there and taken that ferry to go to Fire Island. So like, motherfucker could have lived anywhere. And like this is like Bay Shore, so it's like fucking deep.
Yeah, fact.
So like, motherfucker, he could have been anywhere. He could have been, you know, from Manhattan, anything.
Objective
So I'm
updated.
like, all right,
Defend
like
that
this
position.
may be worth it.
Marking gear.
That, and I just try not to cancel on people, but it just ended up being a big ass waste of time. But the one platform where I don't give nobody the benefit of the doubt is Lyft. Because Lyft doesn't protect their drivers.
Marking
Even
gear.
though they have way less drivers and way less customers. Like did I tell you the story where I ended up the fuck? I had a group. I had a drunk XL group. I took them out to Farmingdale. The fucking app gave me the wrong directions multiple times, like twice in one like short little like 20-minute ride. And so during that ride, I got my next request. But because of the wrong directions, you know, I ended up basically being like 3 minutes later than you could have reasonably expected. No. Those directions cost me 3 minutes. And then the drunk people being slow to get out and shit cost me another 2.
Yeah.
So, car on the ATV on the right. He got out. Probably going to the bunker. He got back in it. Off it now.
We went down there with the bike. Did we drop down?
Hell no.
I think we do, bro.
If he gets on that shit and runs us over, I'm so
driving.
fucking done.
Allied UAV overhead. Hunt them down. Frag out.
I didn't even realize we killed that motherfucker. Also, that box wasn't even open.
I didn't open that box.
Apparently not.
nigga said if he get on that bike and run us over.
Bro, I'd have been so mad.
That would have been
We
funny as
got gas
hell though.
inbound.
I'd have
Safe
been
zone
like, nah, that's
relocated.
it for me tonight.
Yeah, that would have definitely been
Active
it.
bounty contract.
So yeah, so those two things combined, right, made me 5 minutes late, later than they would have expected, right? Which you
hmm
can't really have a reasonable explanation when I already have a fucking ride. But whatever. Okay, so I'm 5 minutes late, right? So I wait for this motherfucker outside this restaurant because it's gonna be a long ride, right? So I text, I call, right? I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing. So
Gas is moving.
this time at like the 8 minute mark, I'm like, all right,
Contract complete.
fuck it.
Recon intel secured.
I go to cancel.
All friendlies in the safe zone.
They don't give me any money.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, that must be some kind of error. So I'm gonna take it up with support tomorrow when I'm well rested. So I take it up with support, and they said, oh,
Bounty target has been marked.
you didn't
Inbound.
arrive within the allotted time, so you couldn't get a cancel fee. And I'm like, what?
And they're like, nigga, y'all directions made me late.
Right. So I told him, I'm like, listen, like I was already on a ride,
Copy Castro.
and these shitty directions, like, took me, like the shit tried to fucking kill us twice. It tried to take us down one way. It tried to take us down a one-way street the wrong way once. Then the other time, imagine a highway exit ramp, right?
hmm
That curves to the right. So you're gonna merge with your normal traffic and just keep going, right?
Moving there.
Yeah.
Repositioning.
Right? You're gonna remain on the right side of the road because you're in the United States of fucking America. The cars drive on the right side of the road, right? Why from this highway exit ramp, which is curved to the right,
Heading out.
why does this shit try to tell me, oh bro, make a left? Make a
Positive
left.
activity
Cross
on the
4 lanes
bounty
of
target.
traffic.
Let's make this
Make
quick.
a fucking
Moving
left
here.
into the road.
Mark the
That's
hostile.
ridiculous.
So because of that, like the shit is delayed. So I'm like, okay, like I don't understand how no matter how late I am, right? The fact that I went there and you didn't give the ride to anybody else or anything, like why the fuck am I not eligible for a cancellation fee when the motherfucker didn't show up?
You got gas inbound.
And
Yeah,
Safe
it's
that's
zone
like,
weird as fuck.
and
relocated.
everything is through the app, so it's like you can see that I texted him. You can see that he
Bro,
didn't respond.
fucking melted me, bro. Dropped down and just melted me with that armor grab.
Your teammate is in the gulag now. If they survive, they'll rejoin you. Gas is right on your
That's
tail.
weird. That's why I told my cousin, I said, I ain't fucking with Lyft.
See, so when
Into
that,
the
so
safe zone.
I've had
Hostile
two
dropping into the
instances of
area.
that
Watch the skies.
that made me just like, like I fuck with them because it helps me.
Your teammate lost the fight. Now they
It
return
helps
to
me
base.
get rides that I
It's
wouldn't
just you
otherwise
and
get.
them. Finish it.
Right? Like when you're doing a limited number of rides, like you want to keep it as high as possible. But
Yeah.
like so I had that happen to me, and then I had another instance where it gave me those same dumbass directions. Which the other thing about Lyft is, Lyft won't let you open up another
Got
GPS
target
app
here.
in their app, right? So to
Oh,
to
hell
to
no.
do it, you would have to literally manually enter it in. And they use a like Google Maps interface, but it's not Google Maps. It's literally like completely Lyft. And you can tell by some of the dumb shit that it fucking does that Google Maps never does.
Somebody just bought from there.
And they pop load out.
Disregard that.
Boy. Now what? Because I
The
didn't
only other
go.
one was in power plant, and that's
It's
already
in the gas
done.
now. I didn't go.
Only that one is safe.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
lit
go over
fight.
there because they were fucking popping off from the roof
Never
when they
mind.
fucking killed you at.
Wow.
Like right before you died, they lit up a guy that was in the hangar over here.
Heading there now.
Somebody let me
Cancel
not
that.
cross and get bodied. So it gave me those same dumbass directions where they're like,
Heading there
oh,
now.
Gas is
make a
inbound.
left
Marking
across
new
mad
safe
lanes
zone.
of traffic, right, where it's totally illegal. Like, do that, and like, good
Word.
luck. So because of that, I ended up losing out on like 5 minutes just because of how the highways work there.
Yeah, it's like the motherfuckers
So
did that shit on purpose so they could be like, yeah, you know what, even that shit don't work out for him, we ain't on the hook for shit, fuck him.
right then,
Enemy
I
sighted.
ended up being about 5 minutes late, right?
That's the guy that killed me with a gold suit.
Gas moving in.
They took your satchel since I was last here.
25 still remain in the AO.
So I literally get on the block where dude is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm on the block, they send me a trip request. So I'm thinking, oh, I have another ride before I even accept this one, right? Perfect, like completely stacked up. No, they sending me a different request because they sent my request to a different driver but didn't tell me, right?
Huh.
So I literally watched the guy. Oh, I literally watched the guy pick up my customers. Right, so when it happened, I accepted the trip, thinking like I said that the shit would be stacked. I accepted it. So then I went to support again,
Get to
and
the
I
new
was
safe
like,
zone.
oh, like
Gas is closing in.
this was weird. Like, what was the issue? And they were like, oh yeah, you were slow, so we gave it
Enemy
to somebody
UAV
else.
active.
But it's
Nigga,
like,
what?
but how you give it to somebody else and don't say anything?
Word, like,
Like, don't
Gas
get
is
me
right on
wrong.
your
Like, I
tail.
wouldn't like it if you gave it to somebody else. But like, well, what if I still beat him there? Then what? Then who gets it? Because then what? He wasted his time. I wasted my time.
word.
And so with those two experiences now, it's like for anything with Lyft, I just cancel because they don't support their peeps. Like, but otherwise, I do the best I can not to cancel, just because it fucking sucks. And because usually my rides are just worth way more. There's no other way up, right? Besides those stairs and the gas.
Yeah, I think so. Unless you go out, I think it's like a ladder or, it ain't no zip though, I think it's a ladder.
I don't know about any ladder. That's why I didn't move. Otherwise, I would have tried to take it just to get you back from the porty by. Like they popped that shit
10
perfectly,
remaining.
bro.
Keep fighting.
Like it was just in the nick of time where I couldn't make it up the stairs.
No.
Gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone.
Wow. Do I shoot him?
Enemy sighted.
No.
Enemy UAV active. You're losing ground. Move it.
I thought that shit led to outside.
Watch the skies.
That was mad weird.
Portable redeploy balloon.
Yeah, ready for more.
Don't look this way, don't look this way, don't look this way.
He definitely didn't either. Who is that guy?
Bro, how?
Make it further next time.
The second I saw him, I should have shot him. But I was like, if he don't turn, I could just get inside.
That nigga was mad weird.